Welcome from the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter. This is our study group for October 2022. This is our first one of the month and our 56th consecutive class. As you can see, we are sponsored by Watermark Learning. Watermark has kindly given us access to their test study questions for the CBAP, and so we are claiming them as our sponsor. The mission here at the IIBA Tampa Bay is to bridge the gap between industry leaders and business analysts by building partnerships with professionals, educators, and employers so that we may empower, instruct, and engage the BA community. Our BA community is worldwide. We have members from all over the world now. And if you're interested in joining our chapter, whenever you join the IIBA, just tell them that you want to be a member of the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter. Geographically, we cover all of northern Florida, the northern half of Florida, but in reality, we're virtual. We cover the entire world. It is our job as leaders of this chapter to mentor, provide guidance, help you study for tests, tell you what the tests are going to be like, try to help you with work situations, whatever we can do to help you be a better BA and a better member of the community. You have a variety of ways you can reach us here at the IIBA in Tampa Bay. You are currently attending our BABOK study group. We have this every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. You can view our past meeting recordings at this address right here in turquoise. We also have an IIBA site. We have 2 different meetups. We have Zoom, that is the way that you're accessing us now probably. We also have Facebook and 2 different LinkedIn pages. So if you have a question for us and you just want to get it out to the leadership, you can reach us at any of those ways. As I said, we've met a whole bunch of times. We've recently, we started out going over the chapter questions for the CBAP certification. The first 10 meetings are listed here. As you can see, we spent about 2, maybe 3 meetings per chapter, and then we went on into the techniques. Currently, we are working our way back through it. We had a professional series in the middle, where currently today is chapter 3, business analysis, planning, and monitoring. We're going to go through some more test questions to be better than we were. If you want to get material from Watermark Learning, they have in-person classes, they have virtual classes for a variety of certifications. They also have the tests that you can take online, and I'll show you that in just a minute. They've got flashcards and other things. This discount code right here will give you 20% off of their costs. We are a volunteer-run organization. You can see Cliff here and his Millennial Falcon. He is the president of our chapter. Here you can see some of our other board members. My name is Thea Raisins. I am the Vice President of Career and Professional Development. If you'd like to reach me directly, you can reach me here on my LinkedIn address. My name on LinkedIn is Thea Raisins, so you can find me there. Raisins is not spelled as you would expect it, so you need to make a note of how it's spelled. We do need new board members. If you're interested in giving us 2 hours, 10 hours, or being a regular member of our board, just let us know. Reach out to Cliff or myself, and we will see what skills you would like to bring to the table and how we can use you. Not only does that help all of our chapter, but it helps you be a leader. You can claim it on your resume as leadership, as well as being invested in our community. Bob Churchill is online with us now. He is currently in Utah on a road trip, but he stopped to participate in this. Bob is our resident CBAP. We also have Yulia as a CBAP. She recently earned her CBAP certification. You can see her here. We have to have a CBAP in our study group to attend the study group for you to be able to use here's Bob, for you to be able to use this 1 hour as education credit. Whenever you apply to take one of the certification tests, you need a certain number of education credits. And whenever you have to recertify after you've passed the test, you also need education credits. So this provides that for you. I keep track of it here. You can see, let me move this out of the way. You can see I've taken attendance of people that I saw had joined already, and I keep track of that. If you decide you need to have me send you something, I can send you a list of the days that I have that you attended our class. As I said, Bob is on his road trip. He started down here in Orlando, went up through the East Coast, went up here, and is now right here. He is doing a nationwide tour for a couple of weeks, and we are enjoying finding Bob on the map. As I said, Yulia recently passed her certification. She earned her CBAP certification, which is Certified Business Analysis Professional. Tish previously had earned her ECBA, which is the one that requires less years of professional experience. And she was able to immediately put that on her LinkedIn profile and start looking for a job that would appreciate that certification. Today, as I said, we're going to go through Chapter 3, Business Analysis, Planning and Monitoring, and the CBAP for the test questions. Before we do that, I have a few things to go over with y'all. Let me minimize this. I have said several times that if you want to get the CBAP or any of the other certifications, to know why you're getting it, it either needs to be because it's important to you or it's important to your current or future employer. I did a search today looking on LinkedIn for business analysis jobs, just business analyst in the United States with no other filters. There's almost 89,000 results, people looking for business analysts right now, that they would hire a business analyst if you have the credentials they're looking for. Whenever I did the same search, and I did the search for CBAP as the search criteria, I got almost 1,200 results. And in doing the find on this, it's related certifications are nice to have. So in almost every one of them, it was like, it's appreciated if you have it, it's nice to have it. So you can look at it as though it's not super important if you look at the ratio, but on the other hand, if you have the certification, you're going to stand out over all the people that don't have the certification. So we're going to continue to work through the test questions for the certification today. And let me close these two. I want to tell you all about a book that I am currently reading that has some things in it that business analysts might appreciate. It's called Design Your Life. Design Your Life, hopefully it will come up here in just a second. Design Your Life is written by I think they're at Stanford University. I'm on the wrong one. Here it is, Designing Your Life, How to Build a Well-Lived, Joyful Life. And it seriously is a way to get to think about what is good in your life, what do you want to keep, how to find the job that's going to make you happy, things like that. But for the business analyst, it has some other very interesting things. It has a good explanation of what design thinking is, which you're going to hear that whenever you're talking about UI, UX. It also is going to give you some ways to approach problems that you wouldn't expect. It also gives you a lot of ways to talk about your own career path and how to get a job, the difference between interviewing for a job and networking for a job, ways to get a job that's beyond just going through LinkedIn and looking for jobs. They gave the statistic that 20% of jobs are advertised and 80% aren't. And there is a method that they propose for people to get to those 80% that aren't. And I think it would be very effective. Things that were highlighted by Kindle readers, over 10,000 Kindle readers. There's 5 mindsets that you're going to learn in this. Curiosity, bias to action, reframing, awareness, and radical collaboration. Each one of these are kind of, well, they're kind of radical, but every one of them makes perfect sense to me. And I think that y'all would really enjoy looking at this. In doing a search, you can see that this is from, yeah, it is Stanford. Stanford's been teaching this course for quite a while. It's a very successful course that they have people from all walks of life participating in. And it seems to be something that would be worth looking at. You'll see, here's a TED Talk by Bill Burnett that gives you kind of a highlight reel of designing your life. And they have quite a number of other pieces in here if you just do a Google search for Design Your Life. There are some people that use Design Your Life and it's not related to the book. So be aware if that's what you're looking for, if it's specific to the book. I personally use the book on Audible so that I can listen to it repeatedly and just move forward from there. Okay, I want to talk about the BABOK, the structure of the chapters. There's something that if you haven't worked on this previously, if you haven't explored the BABOK before, I want you to understand this. Every single chapter is going to have this as a beginning. It's going to have a list of all the inputs for the chapter. It's going to go into all the tasks. It's a great way to see all the tasks in one box, and then all of the outputs. However, the one at the very beginning of the chapter is going to have it all clumped into one thing, and it's not easy to understand. I would always suggest that you understand this is a list of all the tasks, and this is a list of all the outputs. But if you go ahead and scroll down, for instance, this is 3.1 Plan Business Analysis Approach. If you scroll down to the bottom of that, it's going to show you the 1 or 2 inputs that go into that one task, and then the outputs. It's also going to show you the guidelines and tools that go into that one task, and it's also going to show you the tasks that use this output. This is a great way to get a good view of that one task in a much more refined, linear way to view it, because if you only look at it from the first one that's at the beginning of the chapter, it's kind of hard to map your way through it to see which one goes to which one. This is a very concise view of that one task, the inputs, outputs, task, using the output, and the guidelines and tools. Another thing is, whenever we read the questions, we saw last time, it asks for things like, what are the guidelines that are related to this? Or what are the tools? Or what are the inputs? What are the outputs? It means this specifically. This is exactly what it's talking about. If you take this as a guideline from the outside world, you're not going to understand that this means the guidelines. These are the guidelines and tools as the BABOK talks about them. Every question on the test has to be answered the way that BABOK presents it, regardless of any other experience or any other understanding that you have. So to pass the test, you've got to answer it the way the BABOK expects it. Okay, let's move on into the test itself. Let me move this aside. I have this so that I feel like we're having interaction. I have this over here so I can see y'all. If you're answering questions, if it's possible, please turn your camera on so we can have a conversation that we have more than just the verbal, because as you know, body language has a lot to do with how people interact and how they understand each other. And I think that it's very beneficial. So for question 1 of 25, which of the following sets represents key concepts that are needed to understand how to effectively perform the Plan Business Analysis Governance task? Organization of business analysis information, change control process, plan prioritization approach, plan for approvals. B, decision-making, change control process, plan prioritization approach, level of abstraction, plan for approvals. C, decision-making, change control process, plan prioritization approach, plan for approvals. Or D, perform analysis, change control process, plan prioritization approach, and plan for approvals. So we're talking key concepts, and it's the Plan Business Analysis Governance task. Yulia is smiling.
I know the answer.
I know that's what it means.
But guys, you got to speak up. I mean,
yes, you got to speak up. Yulia's
know,
always going to tell us the answer.
Not always, maybe. Let's do not put so much pressure on me.
Well, I tell you what, let's talk about what the differences are. The first one is the only one that has organized business analysis information. Is that a key concept? if it is not a key concept, we know we can eliminate that answer from the list.
Come on, people.
We've got 16.
Everybody's quiet.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to get a credit if you're going to be quiet.
Yulia, this is Bonnie. I was not quiet for the first 2 sessions that we went over this, and I got shot in the foot several times. I'm sorry I'm late, everyone. I had a day, so I'm trying to think here. So,
well, Bonnie, thank you for coming, and sorry about your day.
Thanks.
Yeah, guys, and don't be afraid to get it wrong. Come on, that's how we learn. I learn more by stupid stuff that I do than doing it right. So trust me.
Okay, Cliff, I gotta ask, does that mean you're brilliant now?
No, I should be. I always say my famous, my last words on this earth are going to be, damn, I thought that would work.
Okay.
But anyway.
This is Bonnie. I'm going to say C.
Why C?
C, because I think when you're talking business analysis governance, decision-making is a part of that, a huge part. So that eliminated A and D for me because B and C share that.
Right.
I don't think the difference there is level of abstraction with B, and I don't think we're there yet. That's, again, I'm sorry, I'm not fresh from my reading. I got half the chapter done.
Okay.
But I just think that when you're just planning a governance, that's too deep at this point. So that's why I was saying C, and I could be wrong, but I'm still going to say C.
You know what, Bonnie? I
C.
commend you for saying something. Do we have a second opinion, anybody?
I concur. It's C.
Okay, let's go with C and see what we get. These are the stated elements of the planned business analysis governance task. You can find that in 3.3.4. Congratulations, ladies, and you are the bravest ones in the bunch.
Well, thanks. Something stuck in my head. Thanks, Cliff, for giving me the courage to speak up.
Okay, question 2. Grant has just completed defining a governance process when a stakeholder who's been declining meeting invitations to define the process voiced some concerns to the sponsor regarding the team's decisions. The raised concerns have resulted in more issues, and the stakeholders cannot come to a consensus. What considerations would help resolve the deadlock? Plan for approvals, plan prioritization approach, change control process, or decision making. So we have a decision process problem here. Is that correct?
Yes. Sponsor regarding team's decisions. What consideration would help resolve?
Why you can smack that stakeholder upside the head and get him to come to meetings an option?
No violence with the stakeholders, Cliff. That's why.
Once again, you have to do it according to the way the BABOK would do it, not the way you would do it, Cliff.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to work with my camera because again, it's a newer MacBook Pro, and it's saying I can't. Something.
That's okay. The camera is not required. It's just appreciated.
Okay. Yeah. No. I have to fix that. Okay. So the raised concerns have resulted in more issues, and stakeholders can't come to consensus. What consideration will help? I would say, okay. Declining to define the process, voice some concerns regarding the team's decisions. Well, what consideration would help resolve this? I'm thinking plan for approvals. Well, wait a minute. Grant has just completed defining. So you have the stakeholder who's declining the meeting invitations to define the process, voice some concerns to the sponsor regarding the team's decisions. What consideration would help resolve this? Well, the decision making, I would say, you know, that's highlighted because maybe that's not the person who needs to be making the decisions if they're gridlocked.
Remember, decision making, and Yulia, tell me if I'm wrong, decision making is the team comes to an agreement on how decisions are going to be made. Who has the final say if there's a conflict or a disagreement? The team decides who's going to make the final decision.
So yeah, you're correct. Decision making will tell you if we cannot agree who's making final decision.
Yulia, you're giving me courage. I'm telling you. I've been following, you know. Hey, thank you, young lady. That's all I can say. I gotta get on. I gotta fix this camera. This is a new computer. I'm sorry. I gotta get on camera so you can see my craziness.
That works.
All right. Okay.
Okay,
All
the
right.
next one, guidelines and tools included in the plan stakeholder engagement task. So this is our task.
Yeah.
Include which of the following. So we're looking at guidelines and tools. Remember I talked about that box off to the left? So it's business analysis, performance assessment, business policies, current state description. Business analysis, performance assessment, change strategy, current state description. Business analysis, performance assessment, change strategy, stakeholder engagement approach. And business analysis, performance assessment, expert judgment, methodologies, and framework. This is a key.
I feel like Benjamin wants to answer.
Okay.
Guy.
I'll throw myself out there if you don't want to do it first.
Well, the current state description was throwing me off a little bit.
I'll go with B.
I'm not sure.
I'm going to say A, but I'm going to let somebody else answer.
It's a B.
I think it's B too.
It's a B.
Okay, let's find out.
Hold on, somebody says that I think it's B because
I'm sorry, I already hit check answer. So these are the three stated descriptions, three stated guidelines and tools for this task. Business analysis, performance assessment, change strategy, and current state description for the task plan stakeholder engagement. Why would these be the three?
Because that's what BABOK says.
Yeah, let's go. Okay.
That and change strategy will probably, you know, change depending on the stakeholders involved, so that their change may occur also.
Yep. Okay. You are the business analyst on an initiative. Which of the following would you consider when determining the optimal approach for conducting business analysis activities? Complexity and risk, geographic and cultural considerations, number of business areas affected, or size of change?
this one is tricky.
I would say
Sorry, say it again.
D, I think.
B as in boy.
I'm thinking D personally,
D.
but. Yeah, this-
Okay, I got D.
Hold on.
The optimal approach for.
Determining the optimal approach for conducting business analysis activities. Optimal
Yeah.
approach to conduct business analysis activities. This question is very tricky.
Mhm.
In all of them.
Because, hold on. I know the answer. Okay.
Optimal approach.
So there is one answer, like one letter, right, which comprises the rest. So it's kind of goes inside of that answer.
Mhm, mhm. Determine the optimal-
Yeah, I like B or C, but C maybe.
Why do you like C more, Cliff?
It's A.
Just the overall scope of
C.
everybody that you're messing with.
Answer is A.
I think it's A too.
Because yeah, and B, C, D goes to A. It's a part
Mhm.
of
Okay.
size of the changes,
Let's check
complexity.
it. Complexity and risk is a stated element in the planned business analysis approach task. The other three responses are factors that can impact the complexity. So these three go into complexity.
Mhm.
Nice.
Good job. Yeah.
And the way to know it is just you need to read it and read it and read it. And
Yep.
Mhm.
Make it where it's of course, that's the answer. That's what it says. You're developing an approach for how business artifacts will be stored, accessed, and shared. Which set of stakeholders would you involve in this task? The domain subject matter expert, tester, and regulator, project manager, domain subject matter expert, regulator, and sponsor, sponsor, domain subject matter expert, regulator, and customer, domain subject matter expert, regulator, and sponsor. Okay, before we start, which of these has something in it that doesn't make any sense that we can eliminate?
See, the customer
See,
should.
customer.
Okay, so we know that this one is not even a consideration.
Mhm.
And the regulators in all of them.
The regulators in all of them. Domain subject matter expert is on all of them. So this one has tester, this one has project manager and sponsor, and this one has, this one and this one are the same, except this one has
Project
project
manager.
manager.
I think it's B.
I think, project manager, he does not really care how artifacts will be stored, accessed, and shared, because I'm thinking, right, I don't remember by
Okay.
heart, because project manager is responsible for success of the project.
Mhm.
It
Here-
depends. Yeah, Julia. Okay, I fell back to my experience, and I had project managers that were a little different. So that's, but for BABOK, you're probably right.
So it's or A or D. So
A or D. Does the tester have any say in this? Were they?
No,
say-
why would they?
I wouldn't think so.
I think it's A.
I think it's
The-
B. Sorry,
But
Julia.
again, I mean, this one, it's it's a lot of remember. I did not learn it by heart. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna go for D.
I say B.
why?
I say B too,
Yep.
because project managers want to sometimes ask you for
Yep.
the information and then
Yep.
they have it out on the SharePoint.
Mhm.
Okay, that's what your experience is. What does the
Yeah.
BABOK say?
Right, and that's why I went back and said what the BABOK.
Oh,
Right.
So you always have to stop, folks. Always stop. And the one thing I just want to say is just listen to the keywords of what Thea is saying, what Julia is saying, right? So it's your experience. I've been a BA for many, many years, and my experience would tell me B because of the project manager, because I have different types of project managers. And but the BABOK, again, that's what we're trying to pass, not our practical experience.
Right.
BABOK is wrong.
Maybe.
That's why she's writing a new version.
Right,
While we're writing version 4.
right, right.
Yes.
I think I would agree with Benjamin. Benjamin said D.
Okay.
I think I would agree with him.
Okay.
But the majority is B. Let's select B because majority says B.
Let's try and check the answer and see what our answer is. Okay, Benjamin, you get a point. Congratulations.
Very good. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank
These
you.
are the stated stakeholders for the planned business analysis information management task. So the domain subject matter expert, the regulator, and the sponsor. Let's talk about why regulator. Regulators get to determine where things are because there are rules that have to be followed and we have to listen to them. As you saw, we had regulator in all of these, but people, unless you've been in a regulatory department or worked with regulators, you don't understand. They have rules that have penalties. They have rules that will cause companies problems. Whenever I was at Sprint many years ago, we basically had a situation where the entire company was going to be shut down, or at least that's what they were telling us, if we didn't satisfy regulations. So you have to satisfy the regulations. And it was over complaints. It wasn't over, where we kept data or something. So you have to satisfy the regulators. Okay, number 6, you have just completed a thorough stakeholder analysis during which you have identified all the stakeholders that will be directly or indirectly impacted by the current initiative you're working on. What would be the output of this analysis? So this is a stakeholder analysis. The output is stakeholder engagement approach, stakeholder management plan, a RACI matrix, or stakeholder register. Is there any of these that we can eliminate?
Stakeholder register.
Register.
So this is not even a thing the BABOK recognizes, right?
Yeah.
I would
Okay,
also eliminate B.
the stakeholder management plan. Okay. Is RACI matrix a output or is it a technique?
I think it's a technique. It's just more of identifying really the roles and responsibilities.
So did we just eliminate 3 of the 4 answers?
It sounds like it.
It's a,
You're saying A.
Let's try it and see if we're right. All right.
Oh, very nice.
Assessment approach is the output of stakeholder analysis, includes a list of impacted stakeholders along with their characteristics and a list of roles and responsibilities. Good job, guys. We are rocking today. Assessing stakeholder attitudes about a project is important. Which of the following best describes the factors to consider? Attitude toward the objective of the initiative, their job and the organization, attitude toward collaboration, teamwork, and other stakeholders and their job, attitude toward the business goals, objectives of the initiative, business analysis in general, project sponsor and other stakeholders, or D, attitude toward business analysis, project methodology, the sponsor, and the project manager. Factors to consider research regarding assessing stakeholder attitudes. According to
Looks
what,
like C.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I said it looks like C.
Why do you like C?
Because if it's the stakeholders' attitude, I first of all eliminated their job is not important in this situation because we're talking about the particular project. So I eliminated B.
Okay.
And then where is that again?
So you eliminated B because it says their job.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, yeah, their job also is in A. So A and B was eliminated.
Mhm. Why
And
not
then,
D?
So I'm even looking at it now.
Let's read again. Assessing
Mhm.
stakeholder attitudes about the project.
Mm-hmm. And
This question is very tricky.
In the project manager.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try C and see what the answer is.
Hi. Wow.
Okay, an all-inclusive list, meaning that the list is more extensive in the BABOK, but all stakeholder attitudes in this response are specifically stated in the BABOK, along with their attitude toward any proposed solution and team-based collaboration. I want to talk about this one right here, business analysis in general. In real life, IRL, we know that sometimes we'll meet somebody who either they've never worked with a business analyst, they don't know what value we bring, or they have preconceived ideas of, we're just note takers or whatever. Sometimes you have to provide that education to them whenever you're begin working with them. What do you do? What value do you bring? And not in an offensive way, but more of a, here are the things that we've accomplished. Here's the victories that we've had. Kind of be your own cheerleader about business analysis whenever you get into that situation. It seems to be the most effective way I've found, at least. Okay, number 8. You are a business analyst working on a data strategy effort for your organization. You want to minimize your upfront uncertainty and maximize your control over the business analysis activities on the effort. What business analysis approach would best fit this effort? So here's the key. You want to minimize your upfront uncertainty and maximize your control over the activities.
D.
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 Okay, D is in dog.
D is in dog.
Why?
Yes.
Because of the minimizing the upfront uncertainty. And we're predictive, that's minimizing risk. So it's getting all that information up front to help kind of mitigate that.
So with adaptive approach, it would be you reevaluate periodically and change it, which would increase your upfront uncertainty, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's try this, see what we get. Great. In predictive approaches, most of the business analysis work occurs in the beginning of the effort to ensure the solution is defined before implementation begins. That would mean that this is waterfall, correct?
And I was determined to get it right this time because I got it wrong last time. I went specifically highlighted in the chapter.
But you know what? Because you got it wrong, you'll know it now.
I sure will. That's why I was like, D, it's definitely D. Didn't want to hear anything else.
But so here's the deal, Bonnie. You have taken the risk and been vulnerable and spoken up. And because you did that, you have this now, this strength, this new advantage. So look at you.
I
We'll
feel so
over-
much better this week, even though I didn't feel like I was prepared, but I read, you
Mhm.
know, from our last meeting, I did literally go through the chapter and with Julia's tool as well. And I, you know, a couple of things I'm still trying to figure out there, how best my brain could wrap around it. But to your point, there are certain things that are just there. You just
Right.
have to memorize, as Julia said. Other things, you catch that phrase and
Yeah.
that's it.
It's true. You'll recognize the phrasing of the BABOK. It's got its own language, its own accent. You'll get it. Which of the following outputs will identify the stakeholders who will be responsible for setting priorities? So stakeholders, setting priorities, what are the outputs? Governance approach, stakeholder engagement approach, business analysis performance strategy, information management approach.
So the keywords are
I'd say
stakeholder output and stakeholders.
Okay, which one is not output?
Which of these can we eliminate?
Governance, I think we can eliminate.
Performance strategy.
Yep.
So this is not an output.
Right.
Mhm.
Is that the only one? The other three are outputs?
Stakeholder engagement.
That's I think that's an
I don't
output.
think- I don't-
Okay.
And for, I think B and D are outputs. Governance approach is an output. So I would say, yes, they're all.
Okay, so these three are outputs and we're talking about setting, who will be responsible for setting priorities?
That sounds like governance to me.
It sounds like, yeah, sounds like A to me.
Okay, let's try it. Look at y'all.
Awesome.
Governance approach. In addition, it will identify the stakeholders who will have the responsibility and authority to make decisions about business analysis work and who will approve changes to BA information. Very good, guys. Okay, number 10, which of the following list contains valid requirements attributes? Author, source, class complexity, performance interface quality glossary. I'm sorry, I said that incorrectly. Performance interface quality glossary, priority source status urgency, unambiguous, testable, complete, understandable. These are requirements attributes.
Yeah, the best way to remember all this stuff when you have bunch of points you need to memorize, try to create your acronym. Like for attributes, I think it's Cara's soups.
Clara's,
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but you can make up your own, which just makes sense for you, and this is how you're going to be remember it.
I think it's D.
I would go with A on this
A.
one.
Okay.
Okay, we know the quality glossary is not an attribute.
Okay, so we know it cannot be B.
Mhm.
Okay, I got 1A and 1D. Any other votes? We've got 15 people on the call.
What about class? What is it? Is it an attribute?
And is
I don't think so.
attribute?
Class is not an attribute. This is for sure.
Okay, so it can't be A.
Because class is more related to data.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think data dictionary when I see class.
So we know A and B is out of the window.
Okay.
D. Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's C.
Okay, so we have C and D as options. Are there any of these that you know are attributes? What is a valid attribute that when we talk about requirements, what is it we say? Is it
I still say D. I still say D.
D, I believe it's a characteristic of requirements, not attribute.
Definitely.
So I concur with Benjamin.
It's
All right.
requirement attributes.
All right.
Okay, so let's try it out.
The most
Okay,
And we are correct.
characteristics. Oh, wait a minute. Is that what you were saying? The Kara soup?
Yep.
yep, here's
So-
Kara's soups.
Whenever you need to memorize bunch of something, do your acronym. For example, for characteristics of LD5 requirements, they don't give you acronym. I made up my own.
Yeah, so here are the words in the acronym Kara's soups: complexity, absolute reference, risk, author, source, stability, ownership, urgency, priority, and status.
Mhm.
These are characteristics of a well-defined requirement, but they're not attributes. These are the attributes. So reference this in the BABOK for attributes. This is whenever we're talking requirements, it's all the way in chapter 7. We're talking attributes here.
Mhm, mhm.
And yes, are gonna trip you up on this stuff. So just do your acronym, which is makes sense for you, and you're gonna be fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
make up your own, but then you got to remember the words that go along with your acronym,
Mm.
which is my problem. I just need the words. Okay, number 11. Which of the following statements best describes the purpose of the planned business analysis governance task? So purpose. The purpose is to provide oversight to business analysis activities and results. The primary purpose is to provide inputs to the business analysis performance assessment report. The purpose is to define how decisions are made about requirements and design, including reviews, change control, approvals, and prioritization. The purpose is to align with the project management governance approach. Are there any of these we can eliminate?
I would say oversight of business analysis activities and results. I think it's
Uh,
C because that's.
I think it's
C.
C
Okay.
too.
I think it's C
Why do we
Is it-
like C?
because it's more comprehensive. We're talking about governance.
It
And
is in the 3.3.1.
Okay, let's check the answer, see what we
Good
get.
job.
Decision rights is the primary components of governance. Very good, guys. Y'all are rocking tonight. Okay, the business analyst is in the initial phase of IT change initiative at a bank. As part of the business analysis planning approach, the analyst is planning for stakeholder engagement. Under what conditions should the business analyst consider revising the stakeholder collaboration plan and updating it if needed? So right here, this is the only part of the question that you really need. The rest of it is just fluff. So under what conditions? At the start of the new phase of the project, when a new stakeholder is identified, or if the importance of a stakeholder has changed, when there's a change in an organizational structure that impacts the stakeholder, or all of the above.
I would say D.
I'm going for D.
D.
I think we all agree. As factors change, anytime you
Yeah.
have a factor that changes, you have to reevaluate all of your stakeholders and their roles. An architect is invited into a meeting to share her knowledge as input into the decision-making process. What role was the architect asked to play in the decision-making process? Subject matter expert, or SME, reviewer of information, approver of decisions, or participant in the discussion?
A.
Should be A.
They
Very good. They're
rock today.
expertise and experience. They're not coming in to make decisions. They're not coming in to run the show. They're invited to share their knowledge. Missy is a business analyst working for an infotech company. The organization's standards require that she gives a weekly business analysis status report. Missy is now in the process of determining who will need to receive the weekly status report. Which knowledge area is Missy working within? Requirements lifecycle management, business analysis planning and monitoring, requirements management and communication, or communicate business analysis information?
D.
Which knowledge area?
Knowledge area, no, it's either A or B.
Oh, man, right.
Yeah, C and D are
That's
not
the
knowledge
task.
areas.
What is
Right.
the name of the chapter we're working in?
Chapter,
Planning and monitoring.
yeah, planning and is 4, I think.
Chapter 3.
3,
He's
okay.
performing a task of the plan stakeholder engagement, specifically the elements of stakeholder communication needs within this knowledge area. The knowledge areas in the chapters typically line up.
Mhm.
Which of the following lists represents inputs required in the task charged with developing an approach for how business artifacts will be stored, accessed, and shared? So developing the approach, performance objectives, external governance approach, stakeholder engagement approach, business analysis approach, governance approach, stakeholder engagement approach, business analysis approach, governance approach, stakeholder engagement approach needs, business analysis approach, and governance approach, stakeholder engagement approach, business analysis approach, requirements validated. Okay, before we go on, which of these is not valid for our list?
D.
And remember, it's inputs. Mhm.
Yeah.
Requirements validated is not even started. We haven't even started the requirements processes yet. So this one cannot be the answer. Is needs one of our
Needs is an
inputs?
input. Yes.
Okay. Performance objectives and external.
Mm.
I don't
No, I don't think it's A either.
know. I think, yeah.
Okay, that means we're down to B and C, right?
Yes, and we're talking about inputs. I'm gonna say C.
Okay. So the only difference between B and C is this one has needs in it.
Mhm. Well, I
So-
know needs is definitely an input.
Okay,
Right.
let's check it and go on.
It's B.
Needs is not one of the stated inputs for this.
Because
Okay.
needs are going to business analysis approach.
All right.
It's on.
It's already a part is what you're saying. Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so here's something else, folks. I am like, I dig a little deeper into details than I should. You have to know when to pull yourself back, I guess. Yeah. All right.
Knowing yourself is part of the polishing we're doing here.
Yeah.
Okay. Which of the following guidelines and tools is used to improve assessment of stakeholder impact and the development of more effective stakeholder engagement strategies? Is that methodologies and framework, business analysis, performance assessment, business policies, or change strategies? We're looking for guidelines and tools.
Food assessment.
And it's stakeholder engagement.
Maybe A. No. That's a part of business analysis, performance assessment, maybe.
Are there any we can eliminate?
Effective.
Is this
I would-
methodologies and framework a guideline and tools?
And it says assessment of stakeholder impact.
Yeah. Methodologies and I think that is, if I recall,
Okay.
as a guideline in the tool.
What do you think, Benjamin?
I'm weak in guidelines and tools. I have no idea.
It's fine. Try to eliminate what makes common sense. But for this one, it doesn't make common sense, to be honest.
Eliminate
So,
change
assessment of
strategy.
stakeholder impact and the development of more effective stakeholder engagement strategies.
Can it be B?
Why do you like B?
Since it's to improve assessment of stakeholders and the effective engagements. So because B has the performance assessments, I'm not sure, but I'm just guessing.
Well, let's try it out. Let's see what we get.
I vote for D.
Oh,
That's
Okay.
change strategy.
So An organizational readiness assessment includes the impact analysis, which will result in change strategy. So honestly, this one confuses me a little bit, the way they answered it.
That's why I said it's like it does not make any
It
sense,
doesn't
but
seem to make sense.
I remember it.
Yeah,
But change strategy, I mean, you look at change strategy, and by looking at strategy itself, you know how stakeholders is going to be impacted.
yes, it's true.
So that's why change strategy. Analysis performance assessment is what we did in the past.
Uh-huh.
So it does
So
not really
this is-
help.
This is what you do whenever you first start. And then whenever you're looking at the evaluation of those activities, you're looking at change strategy. I'm guessing. Does that sound right, Yulia?
Yeah, so business analysis, like you said, is what we did in the past. You just like lessons learned kind of stuff, and change strategy supposed to include how stakeholders is going to be impacted. That's why they are using change strategy and guidelines and tools.
Okay. Akira is closely managing particular stakeholders who can impose their own requirements for how business analysis information should be managed during the governance process. Which stakeholders are they? Domain subject matter experts, regulators, project managers, sponsors.
Key is can impose their own requirements. This is the
Regulators.
key.
I'm gonna
Hey,
say.
listen, I'm so proud.
Hold on.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Ah!
I am so sorry.
No, because
Because-
that's. Go ahead, Yula.
Yeah, can impose their own requirements, right?
It's
But
their own.
regulations is have to. You don't have a choice. You must comply.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So regulators would impose regulations like from contracts with the government. Sponsors impose their own regulations.
Requirements, not like even regulations.
Okay, and this is according to BABOK 3.3.7.
Yeah.
That was the key.
That was
It
tricky.
was one or the other in my mind, and I just went with, again, I focused on the imposed, just as you were
Uh-huh.
saying it too.
Yeah, but the key requirements, their own
Yes.
requirements. If they
Yes.
say impose rules or guidelines or regulations, whatever, right? It would be regulation.
Lessons learned, folks. Read
Tried to tell us, Julia.
thoroughly and then read it again.
Yeah, double check. Okay, what are the inputs to plan business analysis governance tasks? So this is again, inputs. What are the things you have to have before you can do plan business analysis governance? Business analysis approach and stakeholder engagement approach, business analysis approach and performance objectives, external needs and business analysis approach, or just needs?
A.
I'm gonna go with A on this.
Okay, I got two
Good
answers.
job.
Yay, very
Yay.
good, guys. So you have to have developed your business analysis approach, and you have to have developed the stakeholder engagement approach before you can go into the planned business analysis governance task. What is the business analysis body of knowledge containing? BABOK. Best practices in the industry. A definitive sequence of tasks that business analysts can perform to properly analyze or evaluate the necessity of a change to reach business objective. The sum of knowledge within the profession of business analysis and what is considered currently acceptable practice, or the standards and methodologies to which all business analysts should adhere.
This one is common sense. You don't need a book for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
but if you know the book, you've read this.
Yeah, I mean, if you read a couple of chapters, you
It
can.
says it.
Okay, D.
C.
I think
Well,
it's
Not
C.
the sum, but it's not the sum, I don't think.
Mhm.
You go and see with the majority, but I'm saying D.
Hold on. First of all, BABOK is not gonna kind of force you to adhere to anything.
Yeah, this one is not, all business analysts should adhere, cuts it out.
Okay. Hmm,
Okay,
So it's never compulsory.
but I don't think it's the
Hold
sum.
on. Take a.
sorry, I already did it. So That's what it says. The primary purpose of the BABOK is to define the profession of business analysis and provide a list of commonly accepted practices.
But it's saying this, I hear you, but it's saying the sum of knowledge. I don't think it's definitive.
No, it's not definitive. It is the currently considered accepted practice.
Mhm.
So when we were writing 3.0, we were told, look at every single thing that's out there and figure out what most people are using, that you can be used internationally, regardless of industry. And that's why they have this wording this way.
Okay.
Because best practices is kind of prescriptive.
Right.
BABOK is not prescriptive, it's not pushing. So that's
Right.
why you need to avoid anything like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Giorgio wants to interact with a group of stakeholders to gain more information about them. What would you advise him to do? Develop a survey questionnaire with closed-ended questions, hold workshops, organize lunch and learn meetings, or develop a survey questionnaire with open-ended questions. So what's the difference between the closed-ended and open-ended questions?
Closed-ended is yes, no. Open-ended allows additional information to be added in their own words.
Okay, so he wants to interact with them to gain more information about them. Of these four, which one would that be?
Realistically, the only way you're going to interact is like a C or a B, but
Mhm.
But C, it's not a technique.
I think it's D.
So this question is tricky, I'm going to be honest with you, because it can be D.
It
If
can
we
be.
have, if we have a very large group and it's geographically dispersed.
It could be A, because with A, you can use statistics to describe your results. With
So this,
you can't.
yeah, question is not clear, but I would go for B.
But,
But it's very tricky.
but
Mhm.
surveying questionnaires really aren't an interaction.
Mm.
Yeah, the
Well, but it
workshop
is a technique that's identified as to gather information.
Yeah,
So he
it
wants to
can be.
interact with a group of stakeholders. It doesn't say they're geographic diverse or anything like that, which would require a survey or questionnaire.
Mhm.
Okay, I've heard several people say B, so let's try B and see what the answer is and learn. Workshops are interactive and would allow Greg to gain more information about stakeholder groups. So
And
we-
again, yeah, the reason why it's not A and D, because it's not geographically dispersed or super large group.
Gotcha. Okay, we can do one more question before the end of our time. Which of the following guidelines or tools provides results of previous evaluations and should be reviewed and incorporated into all planning approaches? So we're looking at guidelines and tools and results of previous evaluations. Business policies, business analysis, performance assessment, methodologies and framework, or expert judgment.
B.
Policy.
Yeah, I would go, I was thinking A myself, business policies. Mhm. Which of the following?
Okay, I've heard
Results of previous evaluations.
Okay, methodologies and frameworks.
All provides results.
See, Alex? No, I'm only kidding. I was not good at Wheel of Fortune. Sorry.
well, let's see what she's won.
Yeah, probably nothing. I didn't
find
win
out.
anything.
So the
Okay,
business analysis performance assessment provide results of previous assessments
yeah.
should be
And that
reviewed
would
and
be-
incorporated in the current initiatives approach. So whenever you're working on a project that you have previous projects that have performance assessment, and they said, when I worked with Yulia, she really liked to receive things every morning at 8 o'clock, by 8 o'clock by email, so she could review it, because you know she's a workhorse and she's really going to check it and then ask me where it is if I don't get it to her. So you would want to know that whenever you're working with Yulia again. Okay, I'm not going to check the answers because it's going to tell us we got 4 wrong on this. But guys, we did a whole lot better this time than we have ever before on chapter 3. Y'all ready to move to chapter 4 next week?
I don't know. What do you think? Because I was answering for the last 2 sessions, so you tell me.
I think think we can move on to chapter 4.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, I think I had a significant improvement, even though I had a crazy week and I did some reading. You know, I reread chapter 3, but
Okay.
you know, my recall was a little bit better than what I expected. So yeah,
Okay.
good.
I need a show of hands, or I tell you what, put it in the chat. We have not next meeting, but one of the future meetings is going to be on, wait, let me double check. Am I getting my days mixed up here? October 25th. Okay, I was thinking that was Halloween. Okay, forget it. So we've got October 11th, 18th, and 25th coming up. We are planning on taking a brief break around Thanksgiving and maybe through Christmas, depending on how everyone's schedules are. But so for the next several weeks until Thanksgiving, we will have meetings every single week. Next week, let's go to chapter 4. Let me put it in
Yes.
here. Let me put it in here correctly spelled, chapter 4 on October 11th. And I will see you all next week. If you do have any questions, please contact me through LinkedIn. If you know of any BA jobs that are available, let me know, or refer me to recruiters. If you know of anybody who's looking for BA jobs, ask them to contact me, and I'm going to try to connect them to the recruiters if it fits their. If you have jobs in your own organization, let me know. I'm trying to get this done. Okay, guys.
Yeah,
I will
will
see-
do.
Thank you. Thank you for participation, guys.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
See you guys next week.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Bye.
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 Out there, Bob.
See ya.
All right, let me close out. All right.